Hello and welcome to Infrastructure as a Service. Most cloud computing services are going to fall into three different categories. They're going to fall into infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Now, these are sometimes referred to as the computing stack because essentially they build on top of one another. Now, knowing what these are and how they're different makes it easier for you to decide which you should be using to accomplish whatever business goals you have. Infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, or IaaS, is a type of cloud computing service that offers things like compute, storage, and networking resources on demand on a pay-as-you-go basis. Essentially, it offers the essential compute resources that you need. Now, migrating your organization's infrastructure to an infrastructure as a service solution is going to help you reduce some of the costs associated with maintenance of your on-prem data centers, purchasing hardware for data centers, and really building out a physical presence. What infrastructure as a service does is provide you with the flexibility to scale out resources and scale them down depending on the demand. They also help you more quickly provision new apps and allows you to increase the reliability of your underlying infrastructure. Each resource in an infrastructure as a service solution is going to be provided as a separate service component. That means you're only going to pay for a particular resource as long as you need it. When using infrastructure as a service, the cloud computing service provider like Azure, they're going to be the ones that manage the infrastructure. All you do is purchase, install, configure, and manage your software. Now, this is going to include things like operating systems, middleware, and applications. The image on your screen shows the relationship of infrastructure as a service to platform as a service, which we'll get into, and software as a service. We'll also get into that. It also shows the typical components that are part of infrastructure as a service. So now that we've gone over what infrastructure as a service is, let's talk a little bit about some of the typical business scenarios that infrastructure as a service is used for. For example, lift and shift migrations are probably one of the biggest or most common business case scenarios for infrastructure as a service. Doing a lift and shift migration is probably the quickest and least expensive way to migrate applications or workloads to the cloud. Essentially, it allows you to increase the scale and performance of your applications or workloads. It allows you to enhance the security of those application workloads, and it allows you to reduce the costs of running those applications or workloads, and it allows you to do so without refactoring your underlying architecture. Organizations also tend to use infrastructure as a service for test and development. This is because using infrastructure as a service, you can more quickly set up and tear down test and development environments, which allows you to bring your applications and solutions to market in a quicker manner. In other words, infrastructure as a service makes it easier to more quickly and really more economically scale your dev and test environments. Storage, backup, and recovery is another pretty solid use case for infrastructure as a service. This is because using infrastructure as a service for this type of use case, you can avoid the capital outlay for the storage and complexity of storage management, which basically you're going to need people on staff to manage. It essentially allows you to simplify the planning and management of your backup and recovery systems. Web apps can also be supported by infrastructure as a service. This is because the infrastructure as a service is essentially what's providing the infrastructure to support your web apps. This includes storage, the web and application servers, and network resources. Using infrastructure as a service allows you to more quickly deploy your web apps and easily scale the infrastructure up and down to match the demand for your apps. And then lastly, high performance computing on things like supercomputers and computer grids or computer clusters. This stuff is used to solve complex problems that involve millions of variables or calculations. Examples of high-performance computing that can be done using infrastructure as a service include things like protein folding, earthquake simulations, climate and weather predictions, and things like financial modeling and such. So when you sit the exam, what you need to remember about infrastructure as a service is that it's a type of cloud computing service that offers essential compute, storage, and networking resources on demand, and it does so on a pay-as-you-go basis. When you leverage infrastructure as a service, you only pay for the particular resource for as long as you need it. The cloud service provider, like Microsoft Azure in this case, manages the infrastructure while you handle the purchase, installation, configuration, and management of your software. And this includes operating systems, middleware, and applications.